You're now diving into the fish tank.
Sitting down with Seth Living, OJ, Juice Man.
Welcome back to the Fish Tank right here on the Miami Dolphins Podcast Network. Seth Levitt with my main man, OJ McDuffie. Juice, how you feeling today?
What's up, Big Seth? I'm doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Doing really well, man, as long as we can get our guest in here. He's been cutting in and out on us. But you know what, Juice? We had a great run of Gator players early on in the tank, and I think you did something. You shifted the guest list. You talked to Preach about who we were bringing in. But finally, we're getting back to Gainesville, literally, not just in the past, but right now in Gainesville. Trace Armstrong. Trace, welcome to the tank, man.
It's so good to be here. Really big fans of the show, and it's good to see everybody. Juice, it's been a long time, but man, just couldn't be more happy about being a part of this. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you coming on, man. We had some good old days back in the day, man. And, you know, that's one thing about the tank, as you know, you've listened to some of the pods. I mean, that's what guys miss. They miss being able to, you know, shuck it up a little bit, talk some trash, and reminisce about some of the good old days.
There's no doubt about it. And we were talking about it before we got on air. Just listening to these shows, it's made me realize, like, how lucky I was and how much fun we had, what a great group of guys we had. And, you know, I tell this all the time whenever I talk to kids, coaches, players. It's like, you know, there is no better place in the world than an NFL locker room.
Well, let's talk about that transition to from Chicago to Miami. So you were traded to the Dolphins in '95, spent a year under Coach Shula, and then, as we all know, Coach Shula retired at the end of the '95 season. '96, in comes Jimmy Johnson, and there's a huge veteran purge, like a huge purge of players that both you and Juice had gotten really close with and played with. It was a little touch and go there with you for a while, but you survived that, and ultimately you and Jimmy built a nice relationship. But it wasn't easy going from the beginning. Walk us through that a little while.
Well, it started, you know, when Jimmy got in there. Literally, they talked about, you know, high-priced veterans on the roster, and my name was used as an example. You know, so high-priced veterans such as Trace Armstrong, you know, will probably not be on the roster. And then in '95, I had a non-union fracture in my wrist that I played about 8 games with, and then I had my ankle reconstructed that same year. So, you know, during the minicamp period, I had a cast from my knuckles to my armpit for almost 6 months. And then my second ankle reconstruction, so I had a cast on my leg. We could go to the first minicamp, which, Juice, as you know, was full go. Yeah. It was just pure, you know, barbarian training grounds. And so I'm the president of the Players Association at the time. You know, we're breaking the rules, and I'm the guy with a cast on his leg and a cast on his arm, and who's already been in the newspaper, and I've got to go up and tell Jimmy we can't do this. And I remember I'm going through the locker room. I called my wife and I said, hey, you know, they're probably going to cut me today. I got to have a conversation with Coach Johnson. And she's like, oh, why would they cut you? Why would they do something like that? And I just, honey, it's happening. I called my banker. It said I'm going to get cut here in about 15 minutes. And and so I go up, and they remember we had brought Jack Del Rio in as kind of Jimmy had brought him in as kind of Jimmy's veteran. Jack was on the executive committee and of the Players Association. I went to Jack and I said, hey, I got to go talk to Jimmy. It'd be great if you come with me. And Jack said, I can't do it. You're on your own.
Thanks, Jack. Wow.
Yeah, that's Jack, and I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. So I go up there and have that conversation with Coach Johnson, and he literally came over his desk at me. He was mad, and you know, I told him, you know, we got rules. They're not my rules, and we got to follow them. You came in, you gave us rules. We got to follow them. I said, just the way it is. And he told me, we'll see how that works out for you. So literally.
That was the line? Oh, my God.
Something along those lines.
Maybe an expletive or two in there, I'd imagine.
So that's kind of how it went. And then we went into camp, and, you know, I was not doing well. I shouldn't have been practicing. I wasn't ready to practice. My ankle wasn't ready. And it was literally like a big, red, angry grapefruit every day. Jeff Cross was a great player, got hurt in camp. Steve Entman got hurt in camp. So I'm taking a ton of reps and my body's not ready to play. We had a first preseason game against Tampa, and I was going to retire. It was like, the pain's too much. I'm not playing. I can't run. I can't do anything. And I was waiting for a time to get Jimmy and couldn't get him. So we go out and play against Tampa. I end up playing almost the whole game and end up getting a couple of sacks. And I end up saying, okay, I'm just going to I'm going to get up tomorrow and I'm going to go to practice and see how it goes. But there were 2 points there where I thought my career was over. And I didn't know, I had more fun after that than I did probably in the first chapter of my career.
Something else happened in '96 too, Trace. 2 undersized linebackers from Texas joined the team. And of course, we're talking about Zach Thomas and Larry Izzo. I imagine, we could talk about that relationship with you guys for forever. For the whole episode, we could probably talk about that, But what is it that made you 3 so damn close, man?
Well, I think, first was like passion for the game. That was number one. So how I connected with Zach, I'll never forget it. I mean, it was mini camp his rookie year, and we're talking in the cold plunge, and I thought, okay, because we all saw it, right, in that mini camp. I mean, he made almost every play, had great linebacker instincts, great hustle the ball, all that stuff. So we had a good talk, about what it took to succeed in the league, and so it was that spark, but it just started with a passion for the game.
And you weren't a Del Rio fan at that point, we know.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna judge any man. When it comes to that, I'm just gonna let it speak for itself.
Yeah,
it's a business decision by Jack.
We'll
That's
see
right.
how that worked out for him. Actually, he's made a great career as a coach. Anyway, sorry to interrupt the story. Sorry.
No, so that's where it started, and then the same thing with Larry. Larry was another one of those guys where he was 5'9.5", whatever he was, and but you saw him in that mini camp make a ton of plays, and you could see the linebacker instincts. And you're thinking, okay, he's too small, he's too this, he's too that. But, again, it was through, it was a couple of mini camps and all the endless OTAs we had that year. You could see both these guys had great passion for the game and great instinct and feel for the game. And so that's kind of where it started. And, for me, they kind of revitalized me in their own way, just being young and having that energy and having the whole thing in front of them. So, I like to think I was good for them, but I know they were good for me in that, they kind of got me laughing and really enjoying playing again.
Yeah, it's amazing how that works out, right? You never know, they probably never know the influence they had on you and vice versa, man. But I'm sure they recognize what you did for them, but they don't know what they did for you along the way.
Oh, it was great. And, we had such a good situation. And, I would come back to Gainesville in the off season, and that was a real advantage for me because when I would, hop in the car and drive to Miami, I could not wait to get in my D-line room. I couldn't wait to see everybody. I couldn't wait to see, Jason, Lorenzo Bromell, Kenny Mixon, Tim Bowens, and then, Zach, Larry, everybody. Dix, just couldn't wait to see everybody. And I'd come in and just literally I was like a kid at Christmas.
Well, clearly you guys were close. There's no denying that. And they do. I mean, even in the text messages, they've sent me some great stuff. But at the end of it, both of them were like, you got to talk about how important and instrumental he was to our career and even post-career. But Trace, they also claim that you were the ringleader in nearly drowning them outside of the elbow room. So we've heard Zach's side of the story. Izzo kind of stayed away from it because he had 100 other things to talk about. Most of them were with his, bowel movements. But we heard Zach's side of the story. But we want to know what really happened. What's the real story of what went down at the Elbow Room?
Oh man! So we had just finished, our 3-a-day mini camp. 3 days of 3-a-days. Juice, as you remember that, right? They would shoot coaches for today for what they did to us then. So we finished 3-a-days, probably not very dehydrated, probably in great condition. And we go out and we start across the street at the Falcon Pub with a group of guys. And then it goes from the Falcon Pub to the Elbow Room. But I'm kind of egging everyone on as far as how much we're drinking and not. So there was a long-going competition that day of who could shoot a beer the fastest. And, there was a time in my life where I was really good at that. There was no way that either one of those guys were going to beat me, but I kept egging them on and saying, well, you almost had me. You were just this close. You were a little late getting the bottle up. And so they kept going again and again. But what they didn't realize is that, after a while, I'm sitting a lot of these out while they're still going and drinking with Shane Burton. And
oh, boy, another one.
Yeah, Shane Burton was there. And so we end up at the Elbow Room, and I'm not sure how it came up, but there ended up being a bet that somebody couldn't swim out to this buoy. I might have been behind the idea. I might not have, but so that's how it all started. It got kind of out of hand, but those guys jumped in the water. The shore break was really bad that day. And the first time Larry couldn't get out through the shore break, literally he's getting flipped over backwards and he couldn't get through the shore break. But, Zach got through there and, got out to the buoy. And so there are about, I'm going to say 400 or 500 people watching this.
Oh my God.
So a big crowd. There's a pot of money at stake, and Zach gets out there to the buoy. He thinks he's going to be able to rest on the buoy. He gets there, the buoy just sinks. It's a bobber. It's just floating there. And then there are a bunch of crabs by the buoy, and the crabs jumped all over him, and he flipped out and starts swimming back in because these crabs are all over him. And he gets, probably a third of the way in, and he's not looking good. So we're standing in the crowd, everybody's watching, and there was a guy there, he was actually a Marine, and he goes, hey, your friend's not doing too good. And
no shit.
Yeah, it's yeah. So we're thinking, do we call the police? Do we call 911? And he said, if you want, I can go out there and get him. And I said, yeah, I think you should do that. And so this guy jumped in the water, cut right through the shore break and scooped Zach up and brought him home. Izzo was basically passed out on the beach most of the time because the effort for him trying to get through the shore break completely drained him. But literally, it was, I'm telling you, it was scary. It was a lot of fun, and then it was scary. And then, once Zach got saved, we were all euphoric. And so the day continued. The night finished with Zach and I having to talk about life in a Denny's at about, I think, 2:00 in the morning or something.
What a long day.
That.
You guys killed it that day.
Ever.
It was a long day.
Oh, my God. And I wonder where that Marine is now. We got to find this guy.
Yeah.
This guy, somehow somebody knows this guy. But I remember you said it. You said he cut through that water like friggin' Aquaman. He was... Oh, yeah.
It was unbelievable. It was, he had not had as many beers as the rest of us had. And we just... Like it. Yeah, we were probably marveling at anybody that could walk in a straight line at that point.
Dolphins were at a 2, we about to dab up in that